Hey everyone, it's Lizzie and welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I will be breaking down one of our friends' budgets here on YouTube, and I'm just so excited and honored to be able to do this. So if you guys are interested to see how I break down someone else's budget, and this one in particular is on a fixed income, then keep on watching. So if you are new here, I just want to say thank you so much for stopping by. Make sure you subscribe to get more budgeting content. And my passion is to just help inspire families to create a budget that makes sense to them. So it doesn't have to be super complicated. It just needs to be simple and straight to the point for you to be able to reach all of your financial goals. So today I will be breaking down one of our friends' budgets, and let's share a little bit of information of whose budget we are breaking down. So this is a retired breast cancer survivor. First of all, thank God that you are in a good state and you're out of this. So you say that you are free from cancer, and that is just such a blessing. Let's just give some love to our friend here. The fact that she had to deal with this, and cancer is just such an ugly disease, and I just pray that there will be a complete cure for cancer. But I'm just so thankful that you are still here with us. God is good, and that's just amazing. She also has 3 dogs. She has a daughter who is married and has 5 children and a business, so kudos to that. That's such a blessing. You do have some debt. The total debt that I was told from what she shared was $742. She does have some emergency savings of $850. And right now, at this point in her life, her goal is to have funds at the end of the month. So she gets paid twice a month. As I mentioned, she is on a fixed income. She gets paid on the 2nd of every month, and she gets paid on the 3rd Wednesday of every month. So for a situation like this, sometimes the money could run out once she gets her next paycheck. And I know that that could be the same for many of us that are here watching. So I hope that me sharing how I would break down this budget will help you maybe get a new perspective of how you can break down your finances. So let's go ahead and just get on into some of the numbers that she had shared with me, and also how she right now breaks down her budget. So I first started off by just filling in her pay days and also when her bills are due. So I'm assuming that from the last pay of August, you have allocated some of the funds for the first week's paychecks or first week's bills. Okay? Now, one thing to note is that a couple of her bills are paid every 3 months, so every quarter. She has house tax that she pays quarterly payments, and she also pays quarterly her trash and her sewer. So I have made a note of that in the following page. But first thing that's really nice to do is just filling everything out on a calendar. You can put it on your whiteboard, on your phone, but I personally believe that having it written down on the calendar where you are actually seeing when the bills are due can just trigger something in your brain to know, okay, we have to get stuff done. We need to make sure that we're allocating specific funds so that way we won't feel like we're running low on money towards the end. So this is a bill tracker. Let me zoom you guys in a bit so you can see this a little bit clearer. But honestly, once you fill out the calendar with all of your bills and your paydays, the next step in my budgeting process is to fill out a bill tracker. So this works if you are paid weekly, bi-weekly, or bi-monthly like this individual. This really helps you visually see what you could do and what would be a best scenario for you to set money aside for specific bills. So let's go ahead and just zoom in so you can see what I've written in here. Okay, so I am just breaking this down for the month of September bill tracker. And what I did is up at the top, I wrote in when she's going to receive a pay. Again, she's on a fixed income, So money can be a little bit tight, and I just made a note up here just for me to reference on the bill tracker. You could always do this. What is the dollar amount that she's getting paid? So she's getting paid on the second of the month, $1,500. And then on the third Wednesday of the month, she's getting paid $547. Now, beneath that, I write in a goal. So if you're new here, I talk about budgeting by percentages, breaking things down to try to live within a certain percentage of your income. You can start off with 80% of your income for your living, or if you have a higher income and less expenses, you can try to live within 70%. That's what we aim to live off of. But for this individual, because she is on a fixed income and a low income, I think it's more realistic for her to try to live within 80% of what her income is, and then allocate other funds, the 20%, for savings and for debt payoff. So I've written in what her expenses are with the due date, the total amount that is due, and then I highlight when she needs to have the total funds ready to pay for that bill. Now I have made a note of some of these bills that are paid every 3 months, along with this house taxes. So the taxes is actually due October the 4th. That's why I just made a note down at the bottom. Since it's not truly like due on the 4th of every month, I just wanted to separate that. So what I did is the $235.98 for this, since that's due on October the 4th, we're just splitting that up into a couple of different payments. So you're gonna see the first one here from the second pay, and then you will also see the difference on the next bill tracker I'll show you. So essentially, you'll just write in what your bills are, highlight when you have to have the amount due, and then you can split up your pays. Now, for this first bill tracker, numbers are gonna be a little bit higher because I don't know if she has used my budgeting method. So this is strictly going to be if she has not used my bill tracker method and this living within the 80% as your goal, okay? So I'm assuming from her first pay of September, she has paid the bills that are due. So you're gonna see the total amounts for these match for the monthly bill amount, okay? So the expenses are gonna be much higher from the first couple of paydays. So the goal essentially would be, if it were on my case, to not have your expenses go more than $1,200. Now this is just a goal. Sometimes it could go a little over, but you don't wanna go too much over. But since we are just breaking down a budget, I'm gonna show you my method of how I would be allocating the expenses from each of the paydays. So the total amount for her expenses comes to $1,282.33. Now let me show you how this looks like on a monthly budget. So again, this is the scenario if she doesn't set money aside for her quarterly bills. This is how her monthly budget would look like, okay? So we have her income up here. Total income comes to $2,047. And again, this is, every month is the same, but we're right now budgeting out for September. And then the monthly goal, if you're using my percentage method, would be to try to live within 1637 from your income. So that would be anything that leaves your bank account, your spending, your bills. Try to aim not to go more than that. And then the difference, the 20%, can be used for your savings or your debt payoff. You choose what is more important for you. So then we have the expenses portion. So these are her monthly expenses. This is the total amount that is due. She has taxes that's currently due in the beginning of October. So we want to pay that, okay, from September. So, and then also her sewer and then the trash, that's due, but we're gonna be paying the total amount for that from this pay, okay? That's the full 3 months of those expenses. So the total expenses for this comes to $1,330.32. leaving her with $716.68 left. So now she told me that she budgets these dollar amounts for gas, food, Checo, I don't know what that is, but she has not calculated in a buffer. So I added in a buffer for her just because she says that she does not have enough money left at the end of the month. So we should probably think about factoring in some sort of a buffer to cover those random expenses that may come up towards the end of the month. So based on her numbers, now again, this is what she shared with me, $310 is going to these variable expenses. Now we move on to savings and other goals. So she has a total remaining balance of $406.68 left to budget out. But if we remember, we're trying to budget $409 for our savings and our goal right up here. So I believe we're pretty close. So this is working out really well for this 80-20 percentage method. Okay, so now she says that she wants to save for a couple of sinking funds. She does not have sinking funds set aside, but she wants to have pet care and vacation. And just so you know, she had that $850 for emergency. But her goal is to have $200 for pet care, no set date. Vacation, she wants to be able to save $1,700 by August of next year. So what I did, I took that $1,700 and I divided it up by the number of months leading up to August the 22nd. I think I calculated up until July. So that's roughly $155 that she should be saving so that way she can reach that goal of the $1,700. That's how you can calculate savings for sinking funds. So $155 is what I recommend her to save for vacation. And then I just put in a dollar amount of $20 for pet care. This is just an estimate for me. I know that she wants to have $200 saved for pet care, but on a monthly basis, you can allocate a small amount for these different savings. So the total that she has for sinking funds from this monthly budget is $175. And this leaves $231 still left to budget out for, because we want to be at a zero-based budget, giving every single dollar a place to be. So with that, $231.68, we can move on over here and put it in towards the goal section. Now I just wrote in two different line items, emergency fund and debt, because she said that she did want to build up an emergency fund and also pay off debt. So $231 can be allocated to either one of those. You can split it up however you see fit. Whatever is more important to you, that's where you can apply those funds. So this is the monthly budget if she does not set aside quarterly for certain bills. And this is what the first paycheck budget of September would look like if we are basing it off of that monthly budget for September. So this would be for the pay period of the 2nd through the 14th, and I just marked off that this is the first payday for the month of September. So for this paycheck, we will be budgeting out $1,500 from what she receives on the 2nd. And then where we get these numbers is from that bill tracker that we just filled out. So I went down that column, and I'll show you a screenshot of that bill tracker in case you don't remember what those numbers are. So for the column of the 2nd, these are the expenses that we said that we'll be setting aside. So the total for the fixed expenses comes out to be $1,142.33. This leaves a remaining budget of $357.67 left to work with. So then we move on to that variable expenses. And what I did, I just took that monthly dollar amount that she does budget out for, and I divided it by 2, so that allows us to write in how much she should be allocating from a paycheck. So $40 is going to gas, $50 is going to food, $50 is going to this Checo, and then we're just leaving a $15 for a buffer. this gives $155 for variable expenses. So $202.67 is still left to budget out for. So we're gonna be budgeting for vacation and pet care for her savings. So I did the same thing. I divided the monthly amount by 2 since she gets paid twice a month. So that gives me $78 for vacation and $10 for her pet care. So if we look at what the goal is to live within that 80% if she's using my method. So $1,200 is what would be the goal to have your paycheck, for all of your spending. So right now, if we take the $1,142 right here and we add the $155, we're at $1,297. So we're $97 over, but you know what? That's really not so bad, okay? It gets a little bit better as we move on down the paydays. Because remember, this is if she did not allocate quarterly for those 3-month bills. So we're still left with $114.67 for our goal. So that is still good. You still have money left over, so that way you can apply it for savings. Maybe you could even add a new sinking fund if you want. It's completely up to you. I'm just giving you a different insight. So that's the first paycheck of September. Now the second one. This one is a little bit less that you receive. This is for the third Wednesday of the month. You receive $547. So with that $547, we're gonna do the same thing and say 80% is what would be the goal to live within. So what is 80% of 547? You take 547 and you multiply it by 0.5. And that gives you $273.50. Okay? So we're gonna be over, but that's okay. So the same thing, we looked at the bill tracker and we filled in these numbers for our fixed expenses. We've already planned that ahead. So $250.01 is being allocated for the fixed expenses. And then we have our variable expenses, gas, food, Checo, and then leaving a little bit of a buffer. So $155 is what this adds up to. So we are a bit over for our goal of that 80%, but that's fine. We knew we were gonna have to go through like an adjustment. So right now the total for expenses, it comes to $405. So this remains the same. $88 is going to sinking funds. So that leaves a remaining amount of $53.99 left to budget out for goals. So I just moved that over here so you can choose where you want to allocate those funds to. So again, that's if the scenario, if you did not set money aside for quarterly payments for those expenses. So now, what would it look like if she does continue to set money aside little by little for these quarterly bills? So I've gone ahead, I filled in her October calendar the same way you would do this each and every month. And then I filled in her bill tracker. So this is what her bill tracker looks like. Okay, so things look a little bit different. Let me show you the monthly budget real quick. So with the monthly budget, there's a couple things here on the fixed expenses side that looks a little bit different. So what I did, I took her bills that are paid once every 3 months, okay? I took that total amount from her September and I divided it by 3. That way she can say, okay, I'm gonna set aside a specific dollar amount for those 3 months. That way it will be that total amount for that payment that's due once every 3 months. That's if that number that she gave me was the total for the 3 months worth of, service. I'm assuming it is that. So the trash total bill for the 3 months is $21.64 times 3. That's the $64.92. Then the sewer is the $56.96 and you multiply it by that 3 for 3 months, that comes to that total of the $170.88. Same thing with the taxes. The $78.66, and you multiply it by 3, that gives us that $235.98 that she pays on a 3-month basis, which is every quarter. So I hope that that makes sense, and it gives a different perspective and a good insight on how you can set money aside if you have to pay something every quarter. Break things down by the month, and it alleviates some of that stress when you do have to pay it for that month that is due, right? So by doing this, it's lowered her monthly expenses now from that September monthly budget. So let's flip to that September monthly budget. Total fixed expenses here shows that it's $1,330.32, and then for October, the total fixed expenses is now $1,015. So this is what it looks like if you set money aside for your quarterly payments. Break it down and act as if it's a monthly bill that you're setting those funds aside. Okay, so now with that $1,015 for the monthly expenses, her total remaining is $1,031.20 left to budget out for. So I switched things up a bit for this month because I believe that having $100 for your food, it's a little tight. I'm not sure how you can, like, you must be couponing, or I'm really not sure how you are managing to have your food budget be $100, but that's probably where you're seeing that you don't have enough money left for the end of the month. Things are tight. So I think it might be beneficial for you to think about increasing your food budget to at least $300. Try it out and see if it works. But if you see here for the monthly expenses here, the monthly budget, if you increase your food budget by $200 and you also add in an allowance, because you said that you don't have an allowance, I just put $50 for the month, okay? So having it be $50 for a monthly allowance, that's $25 that you'll be setting aside from each of your paychecks for you, okay? And then also factoring in a buffer. So the total for this variable section, it's coming to $560. So now if we look at what the goal for living within 80% of what your income is, that is $1,637. So where are we right now? If we base it off of this, where do we stand? So we take the $1,015.80 and we add in the $560. Look at that, guys, okay? The goal amount for 80% to live within for her income, right? To not spend more than this dollar amount. We've increased some of the expenses, we've added a couple of things, and she is living within $1,575. You see that? You see how it's possible to live within percentages and you can still reach your goals? I think that is just amazing to see. So it is doable. All right, so now let's break down the rest of the budget. So she's allocated $560 for her variable, and that leaves $471.20 left to budget out for. So we are again going to be adding to her sinking funds. She only told me 2. There's probably other ones that she can add in here, but you can do that. You can add in different categories for savings, but you can see that you have $471 to save for or to pay off debt. You can pick and choose what you want to do with it, okay? So just for this, based on what she told me, I'm only basing it on that. $175 going to vacation and pet. That leaves $296 remaining for her to put towards debt or for her emergency fund, okay? Leaving a zero base budget. So this is what it looks like if you are setting funds aside for your quarterly bills. And just so you can see really quickly, this is what the bill tracker looks like, breaking it down from the quarterly bills. So the expenses have gone down dramatically for the bills for each of her paychecks, and it's just been really nice to see this unfold. So now this is the transitioning period. I just wrote in here transitioning pay period because things may not be exactly 80%, maybe over, but we're going through that adjustment. So this is her first paycheck for October. So this is the $1,500. And this is how her budget looks like for the fixed expenses. Using that bill tracker, I'll put a clip here of what the October bill tracker looks like. And using that, we've allocated $996.49 for her fixed expenses. I've also made a note of her variable expenses on the bill tracker as well. So on this variable expense portion, I've allocated funds for gas, food, checo, allowance, and buffer. So the allowance, this actually should be $25. I just noticed that because we budgeted out $50 for the month, but this is the paycheck. So let me adjust that. See, you catch stuff as you're doing this, but that's perfectly fine. All right, so let me do some addition here. So we have the 40 plus the 150 plus 50 plus 25 plus 15. All right, 280. And then we're gonna take this 503.51 minus 280. All right, that gives us $223.51. So we're gonna subtract the 88. 223.51 minus 88. So 135.51. 135.51. Okay. Now that I fixed that, this is the variable expenses. So we have $280 going to variable. So if we take that 280 and we add in the 996.49 from the fixed expenses, we're currently at $1,276.49 for all of the stuff that's going out of the bank account. So if we look at the 1,500, 80% of 1,500 is 1,200. So with this, we're still a little bit over that goal amount of living within 80%, but not too bad. It's better than it was the prior month. I believe it was 90 something dollars. So we've dropped that and now we're over by $76. So it's not bad at all. All right. And then this is what the second paycheck for October looks like. So this, we're applying less for certain fixed expenses because we know we should be allocating a lot more for fixed expenses from her larger payday, which is that first paycheck of the month. So with the bill tracker, you can make those adjustments visually on that chart and you can see, well, you know what, you should be setting aside a little bit more money on that larger payday. That's why I love the bill tracker. And just side note, my worksheets are available in an Etsy shop and I'll have the link down below. This worksheet, it's not up there just yet on my shop. So if you're looking for this particular one, I still want to work with it and make sure that it's perfect to go up for sale. So I have other sheets available, so you can definitely check that out. So, okay, for this second payday, $199.31 is being applied for fixed expenses, and that leaves $347.69 left for her variable. So we can break all that down. So let's see where we stand with being within our goal amount. So our goal is to not go over $437 to be within that 80%. And right now we're at $479. So still not majorly bad. I just want to visually show this to you so you can see how the percentage method works. So from this payday, I don't think she should apply anything to sinking funds, but she can if she wants to. It's completely up to her. She has $67.69 left to budget. She can apply that to sinking funds or to her goal here for debt freedom and her emergency fund. It's up to her. whatever she wants to do. All right, but I do want to show you one last paycheck. I know this is a lot, but I hope that this is giving you some insight of just how the bill tracker and breaking things down in bite-sized pieces really changes how your paycheck or other budgets look like. So this is her first paycheck for November. So with this, if we look at that bill tracker, I'll put it up on the screen. I've broken things down by paychecks, and I've broken it down October, November to even the beginning of December, just so you can see how you can split up those expenses into paychecks. So with her November the 2nd paycheck, things look completely different. And this is really where you're gonna see that the whole setting aside money for the quarterly payments and then breaking things down based on her paydays, even though she gets paid twice a month, you can see, okay, now I'm starting to get the hang of doing this funds allocation for these bills. So looking at her fixed expenses over here, we have a total of $934.49 being allocated for her fixed expenses. This leaves her with $565.51 left to budget out for. So to be within that goal, we want to be not spending more than $1,200 for that 80%. So then we have the variable expenses, and then we have the gas, food, and again, food, this is increased from her $100 for the month. Okay, so now she's having a little bit of a wiggle room, right, for her food. We have an allowance in here as well, a little bit of a buffer. So $280 is going to her variable expenses. So let's add that up for total expenses. Now her total expenses for her first paycheck budget of November, it now is at $1,214.51. So using this percentage method, I don't use this as like solid, you cannot spend more than $1,200. It's more of guidelines. Try to be as close to this goal amount up here as possible if you're able to, okay? So I think that just being over by $14 is fantastic compared to where she was before. So now we still have $285.51 from this paycheck to break down for other savings goals, debt freedom, right? This is where you can add in, like I think you might want to add in a couple more sinking funds here, or not. So allocating the same amount for her sinking funds because she wants to go on vacation next year and she wants to still save for her pets. So with that $88 for sinking funds, she has a remaining budget of $197.51. So this is where you can apply it. It's pretty much like now it's coming into a routine. You apply it to any of your savings goals or debt freedom. So once you get in the rhythm of this, it becomes a little bit more easy as the paychecks and the months go by. You get into a routine, utilize the bill tracker, plan out what your bills breakdown is, and it really alleviates some of that stress that you may be feeling. So that is my recommendations for her paycheck breakdown and utilizing the percentage formula and the method. I really hope that this just inspires you to get on a written budget and know that not every budgeting method will work for you, but take it bits and pieces and see if it does. Try it out. Let me know what you guys think, and I hope that you enjoyed today's video. If you did, be sure to hit the thumbs up button, subscribe if you haven't, and I'll see you guys right here in a brand new video. Bye guys.